Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Algo. We had a request recently as to how far we think this can go down, so we're going to be investigating that within this video, and we've got a few things to discuss within this structure. Before we jump into that though, I would like to say thank you for watching, and if you'd like to show your support, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and why not leave us some feedback in the comment section down below. Okay, so there's a few things that we need to go over here. First off, the fact that we do not have that much historical data for this. Basically, this is the most information that I can find on the exchanges, and it looks to be dropping in from this June 19 zone, and we have completed a move to the downside, and we've had a move back to the upside. We can argue this is a bullish um, move to the upside, but the structure within it is a little bit strange. So you would have to look at it as either having a really short fifth wave up here or potentially being a diagonal into this move up to hit the top here. But there is quite a lot of overlap. We can see we cross into this wave here, and once again over here we cross into the same zone. So it's not the neatest of waves. So it could also just be a corrective structure in a ABC to the upside. So with that said and done, basically we're looking at how low we think this can go. So the worst, this is sort of a worst case scenario to me. It could also get worse, but this is what we're currently looking at. So basically, we'd be looking at this as an ABC, and for the most part, the one-to-one of this is the 0.833 area. That would be a one-to-one correction. We can see we've already come down here past the 0.786 of A, which is sitting at the 1792. So the other way we can also look at this is if I just go down here onto this, and actually let's drop it onto the top of this move, and what we'll do is we just slide this back over here. So we can also see that we've retraced past the 786, and now we're moving towards the 0.854. This 0.854 also lines up well, it's a little bit below it, but we do have this last bit of support here where we found a bounce previously at the 1639 area. So it is possible that we could look to find some kind of a move off of there, though we'll get into the subwaves shortly. Though my primary sort of count is suggesting that we're going to go further down and we're going to be looking towards this one-to-one zone, or at least slightly lower than, at least breaking this low. So if we jump now into this is one of the potential counts we are looking at. If I quickly throw on we can look at this move potentially as a bigger 5-wave move where we have this as a wave 1 into this low as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 down into this point here. In which case we would have had this as a wave 2 up here. Now we can look at these other subwaves and we can count this as a 1, a flat for a 2, down into this zone here for a 3, and then basically a zigzag for a 4th, and looking to complete this green 5th wave. So if this green 5th wave extends further down and crosses this 1915 zone, basically what we would be looking at is just actually a bigger 5-wave move to the downside, and all of this move would have just been within a wave 3. So with that being said, we haven't quite reached that zone. If I just remove the macro off here. So we'll go into these subwaves shortly, but moving down past this 9 cents 15 would actually indicate that we have a bigger 5-wave move here, and we'd be looking for a move back to the upside. And this would be a typical area we could look to retest. We could potentially look to bounce back up and retest these lows, and then look for continuation to the downside once again. This is something that we just need to be mindful of, that we could see something like this play out. So, and we can see that the slant of this wave is starting to get quite aggressive in comparison to the slope of what we've had here. So it is possible that actually what we're starting to see here is an extension within this 5th wave. This is a 1, 2, and then now we're starting to get this sharp 3rd wave, and we'll look for a 4th and a 5th down into these zones. Though we don't have enough information for that, this could also potentially turn into a diagonal shape within this zone, so we just have to keep monitoring it. But this is sort of my primary count that I'm keeping an eye on. the less bearish alternative to this would be actually that we've already completed this wave 3. And what we'd be looking at is the fact that this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then we are taking this fourth wave up into this high point. So now looking at this move here, there is sort of a caveat to this, because if we're looking at this as extended wave 1, what we'd have to then look at is that effectively this blue line here, or this teal line over here, that is the furthest distance that this wave 5 can travel, and that comes in at 1273. And the reason for that is if we are looking at this as the least bearish option, where we've actually completed a shorter wave 3, then what we would be looking for here is actually that wave 3 can't be the shortest, and we'd have to move past this 1273 zone. And with that said, we couldn't move past this 1273 zone, because otherwise that would invalidate this, because then wave 3 would be the shortest. So we have the same sort of option here. We could develop a diagonal, but this would be our line in the sand for this option as a target. We couldn't go past this 1273. So hopefully this is sort of what's playing out. So then we don't have to drop as far within this cycle part. So if we just move this back up, we could also need to talk about the fact that we could have a more bearish option here, in where we have this is a 1, 2 into this high, then a 1, 2. All of this is still within a wave 3. So you can see this this 1 and 2 up here. We could then still be within this third wave of this wave 3 down to the downside here. And basically the way we'd have to be looking at that is that we're having an extension within this fifth wave potentially here, where we have a 1, 2, 3, this is a 4, and we're looking for this fifth to the downside. This would then push us down lower. The ideal basically with this, we've already reached impulse of it. And if I just show you from the top here, if we just pull this down into this low, and just drop that on the top here for now, and then we'll reposition this. I'll get on there. There we go. So we can see we've already crossed this 1.618 zone. So within this move, we can see that we can actually we can count this as a 1, 2, and actually all of this is within a third wave. So we need more confirmation of it, but it does seem to be reacting quite well with this. Basically, the way we will tell is how we come down for this, how far we come down for this third, and if we see this fourth wave bounce and not being able to sort of break back above this fourth at 44.90, that would be a good indication that we are potentially looking to this wave count, and we would be looking for the potential of this bounce to the upside before continuation to the downside. The thing is, with this count, basically what we would be looking for is a much deeper move here though, because if we just throw this up into this top zone here, bring this down to this low point, we could look to potentially target out between this 0.382 and the 0.5 zone on a retracement for a fourth wave. If this is the case, and we say that we maybe retest these lows here, what we could then actually be looking for is a target lower down towards this 4 cent 51 and this 2 cent 55, or 54, sorry. So this could effectively become a little zone that we look to target out if this is the move that is playing out. So we just need to be aware there is a couple of options here. I'm going to be monitoring these, and I will update you as soon as something gets invalidated or not, basically. But until we move back above this point here at 45.37, effectively we could still look for continuation and further extension to the downside. So that's just something we need to bear in mind. And finally, if we go over so we've gone over all the macro sort of counting that we can have to the downside. So if I do the immediate term moves here, basically what we'd be looking at is the potential that we are having these moves to the downside, and basically these are the moves we'd be sort of looking at. If I go into a smaller time frame, we'll examine these a bit closer. Okay. So within this move that currently I'm looking at it as this is a wave 1. Actually, let me zoom out slightly so we can track this from the top. So I'm looking at this move to the downside here. All of this is a wave 1, and this is a potential wave 2 into this zone. We can also argue that we have a wave 1 here, and then we have a 1, 2, and then all of this is already within a third. But I think because if we look at this, we can have this as a wave 1 into this point, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then 5 into this low point here. Then we have this zigzag for wave 2, and then we're looking to break down. So this is the way I'm currently counting it. From there, we've had this 5-wave move to the downside, followed by this 3-wave move to the upside. Then we have this choppy move here, but we can still count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this low, and then we're looking at a wave 2 at this point. So within that now, basically we have this this move to the downside. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, potentially into this zone here. But if we look at the subwaves of this, we have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3. So it is possible we still have a little bit more to go in this wave. So I think that this wave 3 is actually finishing here, if it's finished already, or it potentially has a little more to go. And if I throw these price points on and we come back down here into the hourly, what we can see here is the fact that we've had this move here as a 5-wave move, then we've had this as a 2 to the upside. We've had an additional 5-wave move into this zone, and what I think we have here is a flat correction. It is possible that this 4th wave is just being a short 4th wave, and then we actually broken down into this, but looking at this wave 2, I'm actually thinking we're still within this 4th wave. And invalidation of that would only come by crossing back above the 1744 zone. Moving back above that 1744 zone would actually indicate that we have invalidated this move, or it is a diagonal. But the fact that we have had a 5-wave move within here, I would actually not be looking to recross this zone. If we throw this fib off of this top zone here, what we can see is we've come up to this 236, but we haven't quite reached this 0.382. So this could be an area we look to target. We don't have to target it. Technically, we could be done already if this is a running flat. But what we would be looking for is the potential of having one more little push up here, potentially to the 1725 to the 1740 area. And what that would then be is a completed 4th correction, and then we'd be looking for a move to the downside. Actually, let me turn the price points on. So yeah, I can see that we had this marked up already. Basically, if we do move back up to this zone, we don't cross this wave 1, and then we move back to the downside, I would be looking at this as a 3rd wave completed in there. In which case, we would be looking for a 4th wave bounce. And this would be looking to potentially target up into this red box zone here, which would be between this 1958 at sort of a maximum level that I'd want to see it travel, all the way down to 1756, which would be a minimum area. And once we start to get some more structure, we can try and pinpoint this a little bit. This is obviously a very broad range, but the most common area is this 1958 and this 1888 zone. That would be a 0.5 and a 0.382 retracement. From that move to the upside, though, we would need to just bear in mind that we would then be looking for an additional 5th wave to the downside here. This is obviously provided we don't move back up above this point here, this 2095. Moving back above 2095 would invalidate this move. So like I said, this is a typical area that we would look to be targeting out. If this does play out, we'd be looking for this drop down to the 1644 to this 1576 zone as a 5th wave. And then from there, we would have to monitor exactly how it goes, because I don't want to spend too much time plotting these out because it makes the video really long. But basically, once we get these moves solidified, then we can start tracking the next leg to the downside. And what we'd be looking for here to confirm the deeper 5-wave move would be a move past this 1089 area. Moving past this 1089 area would basically make us look at this whole move to the downside. If we come out here onto the 4-hourly quick, there we go. So moving down to this 1089 zone would actually indicate that we have this as a bigger 5-wave move to the downside. And then we would be potentially looking to target out some of those deeper areas that we talked about in the macro area. We'd also see that if this does play out and we do cross down past this 1089 zone, it would effectively invalidate this potential where we have a completed third wave. That's just short, and we've had an extended wave one. So if we move past that 1273, basically that would invalidate it. So moving down like this would actually make us then look to one of the other two options, which would be basically the primary count, which we can see actually if we do cross this wave three here, it would put us quite nicely in line with forming this secondary wave three from the top. So this is something that we're just keeping an eye on. It's what we're going to keep track of, and we will keep you up to date as these moves happen and as we see them. Um, so that's all we're going to talk about it for today. We've given you like some short-term price action as well as a general overview of the macro side. And I hope you appreciate the content. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave us some comments down below. Also, why not come join us in the Discord? It's free to join. Just once you're in the general chat area, just add mention a member of the team, and we will be able to help you out. So, oh yeah, before we finish this video, just want to say these are the invalidation points of this move so far. So the most current one would be moving back above that 2095, like we said, and then basically these are other invalidation points for the other legs of this move. We will keep you up to date anyway. So as I see any of these change, we will bring you a video out so you can keep aware of the changes. Okay, so that's everything for today, and we just want to say take care out there, everybody, and we hope you have a great Christmas. See you in the next video.